Hello, this is Brittany and that's Bryant. We went to Orlando for the days of July 5th through July 9th. This video is specifically going to cover our first day going to Orlando and what we did that evening, which was Icon Park. There will be a lot of footage of our airplane ride because I'm really fascinated by flying and it's just the coolest thing to me, so as you can tell by the amount of footage I took from our flight, I don't know, I just wanted to save those memories, so there's a lot of that for the first 6 minutes, so if you want to skip ahead, I understand, but for this beginning part, I'm just going to be talking about our trip overall and some introductory information. I really wanted to put this video together as sort of like a video scrapbook of our trip, because it was just the most amazing time. I loved every day that we spent down in Florida, all 5 days of them, even the travel days, and I just want to remember it and have these memories forever. So Bryant and I decided to go to Disney World back in April, and at the time there were still COVID restrictions. We didn't really know what to expect, but we knew we would be vaccinated by this point and we would just wear a lot of masks and try to be as safe as possible on this trip. We are going to begin our ascent, which you can tell by the amount of the camera shaking how turbulent it was. We flew Frontier on the way to Florida and our flight was an 8:20 a.m. flight, so we're beginning to speed up. Okay, here we go. We're beginning the lift away from the earth, and there she goes. Flight. So amazing. Fortunately, on this flight, I had the window seat. Bryant was next to me, so I got to stare out the window for a while. It's my favorite part of flying, is looking out the window. I actually started to get emotional as we took off because I'm just so amazed that we have this capability. I hope that I am never not excited to fly, and I hope I'm never not amazed by this process because, wow, it is an experience. Yeah, I definitely got emotional at this point. Just so thankful to be able to have this perspective of the world. Yeah, so this is amazing. I'm really glad I got this on video because I don't think I've ever recorded our flight before, and usually I just take a lot of pictures on vacation. Oh, Carmen's like, what are you doing talking to yourself in the closet? Normally I take a lot of pictures on vacation, but this is the first time that I prioritized taking videos because I knew I wanted to put them together. But yeah, so there's just gonna be more flight footage. Going to continue talking over it, but we really enjoyed our flight in. I think that we liked our flight in better than our flight home, but I'll get into that later on the 5th day footage. Yeah, so we flew Frontier. There wasn't any service in the airplane itself, like there weren't the little carts where they were selling drinks or snacks or anything. They did come around to pick up our trash, and then I took this little clip because I love that Bryant and I were reading, as well as the woman next to us and the man across the aisle. And then this video begins our descent into Orlando, Florida. This was my first time going to Florida. I have never been to Florida before. I never really was interested in going to Florida versus other places in the United States, but we really were excited to go to Disney World to see what it was all about. Bryant has really gotten me into Disney more these past few years. I loved it. I loved Disney as a child, and I loved a lot of Disney shows and movies, but I've never considered myself a huge Disney person. But Bryant has been really into planning this trip. We were both really excited to go on it, and I think that I didn't realize how much fun it would be until I was there experiencing it, and it was absolutely magical and amazing, and I'm so glad we went. And I'm glad that we went together, because he was such a great person to travel with and to just be my partner. I love you, Bryant. Anyway, yeah, it was really hazy on the ascent into the clouds, and it was kind of hard to see very far, but once we got to Orlando, when we got beneath the clouds, it was pretty crisp and clear to see everything. I love going through the clouds. I think it's so neat. We stayed at a resort called Westgate Resort, and it was a really huge resort campus. So many different buildings and condos. There were like 6 different pools. There was like a water park behind our building that we didn't go to. We didn't really utilize any of the pools or water activities around our resort because honestly, we were just so busy going to Disney that we didn't have time. And when we did have time, honestly, I didn't really want to go into the public pools. Pandemic or not, I'm not much of a public pool person, so I know Bryant would have liked to, but I just did not feel like that. He could have, though. I wasn't going to stop him. But we did have a jacuzzi, as you will see in our room. This is the sort of entrance to the resort area. There was a little restaurant and shop down that alleyway. And then this is our room. I'm going to talk here in a minute, but I was kind of quiet at this beginning part, so I will let myself talk. Oh my gosh. This is so funny. It just opened. Look. We also brought our disposable camera, which we used to do on trips and get them developed, and that was always fun, so we brought one for this trip. After we checked in and cooled down for a minute in our room, we went to this bar and grill called Drafts and got a couple of drinks before we went to Icon Park, which was about 20 minutes away. I can't remember, but we used Uber to drive around our entire trip. So we got tickets to Madame Tussauds Wax Museum, which was way cooler than I expected it to be. This is in Madame Tussauds, and everybody was taking videos and selfies with all the different wax figures. It was creepy how incredibly realistic some of them looked. Other ones didn't look so good, but for the most part, I was really impressed. And not only were they cool wax figures, but there were also little scenes around the wax figures to set the mood. And I don't know who this is, but he looked like a pirate. So then there's Uncle Sam, and some of them have little staging areas like next to it. You can see the face cutout where someone could have taken a picture with their head where Uncle Sam was. There's Abraham Lincoln giving me creepy eyes from across the room. Yeah. Some of them you really thought were real people out of the corner of your eye until you realized, oh no, that's a figure. Neil Armstrong. Like I said, this one had a cool room as well, so it was neat how they were kind of contextualized as wax figures. The people in Madame Tussauds was actually really crowded. There were a lot of people. Part of them were wearing masks, we were wearing masks, but there were a lot of people that weren't wearing masks, and it was just kind of a free-for-all once you got in there, so we were all just kind of crowding around each other, trying to be as respectful as possible for the others who wanted to take pictures with the figures. But yeah, it was pretty crowded. There was often people in the background of most of the pictures on our vacation, but you know, people were as courteous as possible. But there were a lot of kids running around, a lot of different people, as you'll see in these videos, taking turns with the wax figures. They told you not to touch the wax figures, and yet there were people and kids like touching them and flipping their hair, and here's me and Oprah. So one of the things that Bryant and I talked a lot about on this trip were how annoying and high maintenance children are. So it was cool because there were different sections in the wax museum too. There was the superhero section, there were celebrity sections, like this section here where you can see all the different celebrities and actors standing around as if you're at a party. So it was really cool, and they would have different music playing depending on the scene. After that, we went to a restaurant called Tin Roof and sat at the bar and got some food. It was raining a little bit when we got out. And then after that, we went to the wheel because we wanted to get there around sunset to have a nice view of the area. This is the giant wheel that we saw at the beginning when we walked in, and this footage is really cool. It was also cool because you could sync your phone with the Bluetooth in the vehicle that you were in, the pod that you were in, and play whatever music you wanted to listen to. So this section is silenced because Bryant was playing music, and I don't want to get flagged for playing licensed music in my videos. So that's why this part is quiet, and that's why he is singing and dancing in this clip, because there was music playing. But the view was amazing. There was this neat ride that you'll see in a second. That's that tower that was going, and I think that would have been a lot of fun to go on as well. I don't know where that was because it wasn't at Icon Park. It's kind of in the distance, as you can see, but I think that would have been so much fun to go on. And it looked so beautiful in the sunset. I loved the way that the swings swirling in the circle mimicked the rays coming down from the setting sun through the clouds. It was a really amazing scene. And it was also neat to do this the first night because then we got to see sort of a bird's eye view of the area and where we would be. So we could see our Westgate Resort hotel area from the height of this, from the, oh my god, what am I saying? From the summit of this wheel. Yeah, it was really neat, and I didn't really know where we were. Bryant had to point me in the direction of Disney World, and it was cool because on that screen in the pod, it would tell you, it would have a picture of the view and it would point to where certain things were so that you could kind of understand what you were looking at if you didn't really know the area. It's just cool being high up and getting a new perspective of the ground we walk along all day long, all life long. What am I saying? I'm just trying to come up with things to say over this clip so that it's entertaining. But I really enjoyed Icon Park. It was kind of small, smaller than obviously Disney World. I mean, it was just kind of a block with a few restaurants, the wheel, the museum, and not a whole lot, but it was neat. It was a good activity to do Monday night after a day of traveling near our resort. It was pretty cool, something different, and definitely kicked off our week with a enjoyable evening. But yeah, I think it began to sprinkle more when we left too. We were really worried about this trip if we would get too much rain because of Hurricane Elsa, but it wasn't too bad. This is a top-down view of Icon Park, so you can see how it's just that block. And lots of good views. said, I'm glad we did this the first night. And there's the wheel from the ground. We were on top of that. Oh, and this band, this child band is so good. Watch. Alright, and that's that. At the end of the day, we were really tired, wanted to rest up for Disney Magic Kingdom the next day. This building is where we were staying, and the other circled pavilion was the entrance. Cool. Then we got in the jacuzzi. Nice and relaxing. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.